I didn't realize it at the time, but the No Man's Sky Voyager update was a much bigger deal than I gave it credit for. I incorrectly thought it just added tweaks to shipbuilding, something that technically existed already, just limited to a few modular parts to make the same ships we've always had. But underneath that patch, Hello Games quietly opened a window to the future. Every new expedition, every Corvette part, every update became fuel for an infinite loop of creativity. No Man's Sky stopped being a simple survival sandbox and turned into a bottomless content machine. The same thing Starfield tried to sell as innovation, but never quite managed to capture. While other studios chased the next big thing, Hello Games just kept building it quietly, one free update at a time. And somewhere between farming gamma weed and tinkering with ship parts, it clicked for me. This wasn't just a game being expanded. We've been testing Light No Fire for years without realizing it. The ships, the settlements, the farming, the procedural worlds, it's all been a live experiment for their next world. And when people ask how Hello Games plans to fit everyone onto one massive planet, the answer is simple. They already have. It started innocently enough. I wanted to try the new Breach expedition, unlock a few things, and move on with my life. But a few hours later, I was knee-deep in ship parts and aesthetic arguments with myself over whether my build looked like a cosmic threat or a flying history exhibit. By the time I came up for air, I'd logged more than 80 hours. I started building my Corvette by playing legit, farming and trading for parts. But creative mode quickly took over when I really became obsessed with the shipbuilder and needed more parts to test each piece for aesthetic reasons. That's where the real creativity lives. Glitch building, swapping parts, and pushing the limits to see how far the shipbuilding system could go. At the end of that chaos, I built an Atlantid-themed war barge that looked like a junkyard battleship welded together in someone's garage. It was ridiculous and glorious at the same time. But as I finished it, I realized that this is exactly what I'll be doing in Light No Fire, and I love it. Once I started paying attention, everything lined up. The modular building, the settlement management, the procedural tech, it all pointed in the same direction. We already know Light No Fire will take place on one massive planet, which sounds impossible, until you remember that Hello Games solved that problem years ago. No Man's Sky doesn't generate a world in advance. It builds it around the player as they explore and as they move. That's how its planets feel limitless and seamless at the same time. It's the same foundation that could make a single, seamless multiplayer world work. The settlement system is already the prototype for what Light No Fire will probably become. You manage upgrades, happiness, and debt, making decisions that ripple through the tiny ecosystem. It's a simple version of the player-driven towns we will likely see in the new game. And then there's the farming and the cooking. The cooking is basic, but it works. You start collecting ingredients just to experiment, and suddenly you're running interplanetary supply chains to make bait for a jellyfish boss that drops a fancy helmet. That little loop of collect, craft, explore became my own obsession that led to this video. Now imagine that same loop reworked for Light No Fire in a fantasy setting. Raising livestock, growing crops for food, fueling settlements, and trading resources between players. Hello Games has a habit of making small systems that quietly grow into steadfast pillars of long-term gameplay. They don't add features to check boxes, they build frameworks for what comes next. The deeper I got into the systems, the clearer it became that No Man's Sky is testing far more than mechanics. It's testing connection. The shipbuilding system is the perfect example. What started as modular design for custom corvettes could easily evolve into airships and sea vessels in Light No Fire. The logic's identical: collect components, mix styles, and end up with something uniquely yours. Players already build sailboats in space. Turning that same system towards ocean exploration on a fantasy planet just makes sense. The companion system works the same way. You can tame creatures, hatch eggs, and alter traits that change behavior. Some gather, some fight, some just follow along. It's easy to imagine those companions becoming vital in Light No Fire, helping with farming, transporting, or maybe even defending settlements somehow. Even community features are already there in the form of expeditions, mission boards, and mercenary tasks in No Man's Sky. They might seem simple, but they create small shared community goals. Cosmetics, badges, and ship parts are all reasons to cooperate to succeed. It's not hard to picture Light No Fire expanding that into seasonal world events or player-driven festivals. When you look at it all together, it doesn't feel like a coincidence. No Man's Sky isn't just being updated, it's quietly evolving into the foundation of something much bigger. But none of this matters without a world worth exploring. And that's where Hello Games' procedural tech for biomes does the heavy lifting. Every biome in No Man's Sky feels unique because of how the math works behind the scenes. Frozen tundras, toxic wastelands, lush forests, it's all unique. And the variety is exactly what makes Light No Fire's single planet believable. Rewatch the teaser trailer and it's clear. Deserts, riverlands, snowy peaks, and deep oceans all carry the DNA of No Man's Sky's biomes. The difference is focus. Instead of one biome per planet and scattering them across galaxies, Hello Games wants to bring them all together into one continuous world. Procedural generation isn't just their tech, it's their identity. It's how they've turned math into art, and it's the reason one planet to rule them all doesn't sound like marketing hype anymore. But even the best world needs one thing to truly feel alive: other players. And that's where things get tricky. No Man's Sky handles multiplayer fine for small groups, but it's nowhere near MMO ready. Right now, you can team up with friends or bump into a few strangers in the Nexus, but that's about it. Scaling that tech to thousands of players sharing one seamless world and having more than a handful in a single area is a different challenge entirely. Hello Games' procedural math can get players to the same place through unique paths. Consider it everyone reaching coordinate number 7 by using different equations. 4 plus 3, 10 minus 3, and so on. Things like that. You wind up at 7 and everyone gets there. But making all those people visible, interactive, and stable at once is the real test. It'll take a network system that can shift players between servers without turning the world into a slideshow. Look at Ashes of Creation if you want to see how difficult that is. They've been working for years to make massive sieges run smoothly, and even with more funding, it's still a technical balancing act that they're struggling with. Light No Fire faces that same mountain, just with a smaller team and a bigger scale. If they nail it, we could get the first true persistent fantasy world. One planet, no shards, thousands of players weaving in and out naturally. If they don't, then we'll just get fantasy No Man's Sky. Still beautiful, still fun, but ultimately a co-op sandbox wishing it was an MMO. Given Hello Games' track record though, I'm willing to bet they'll at least get close and then make it better over time. MMO players like me have been drifting for years, chasing the next big home. MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, and then survival games like Palworld and Shrouded and half a dozen others keeping us busy. But the MMO, the true, real MMO dream never really dies. If Hello Games manages to solve multiplayer on this scale, Light No Fire could be that home. A shared world without shards or loading screens where settlements rise and fall and player-built ships become living legends. It's the logical next step for the studio that turned a launch disaster into one of gaming's greatest comebacks. They've learned what overhyping does, so this time they're quiet. No grand promises, no cinematic showcases, just years of steady updates and patient groundwork. That silence might be the loudest statement of confidence we've seen in years. Almost 10 years after No Man's Sky crashed into infamy, it's become something far more important than a redemption story. It's a laboratory. Every update, every graphical change, every new system has been part of a decade-long prototype for Light No Fire. The systems line up perfectly. Shipbuilding becomes ocean fleets, companions evolve into village helpers, and those procedural planets combine into one massive living world. Hello Games didn't just recover from failure, they built the foundation for something bigger. They gave us the stars to explore, learned what it costs to earn trust, and now they're turning everything they've built and learned toward one world that could finally bring players together. That's all for today. You're welcome.